Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Father Longlegs. You know me, Daddy T. I'm very excited for my guest today. She is a comedian, but we actually met in a writer's group, and she also is in my short film. She hosts a show called Formosa Comedy at Formosa Cafe in West Hollywood, and is currently the host of, or co-host of Conspiracy Central on Facebook TV, which is a comedy show where they talk about conspiracies. Shannon Hardy, what's up?
Nothing much. I'm so excited to be here. I will say, so this is like, okay, so we met in a writers group and
Uh-huh.
he gave me one of like the best but also like funniest notes I've ever received. Like, and I always think about it, it's like I was
What
like
was it? Oh gosh, I don't.
no, I was like writing this thing and the love interest for my main character was supposed to be like this like sexy older psychiatrist and you were like maybe make him younger because he was so much older than her and I'm just like completely whatever. I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right, he is a little too old for her. And I was
I do remember that, but it was funny because it's like, not to be ageist, but specifically there was like the vibe was also like slightly predatory. I felt like
no,
because
I know, and I was like
so I think that's where I was like, is he grooming her? Like, is that the point? If not, then people are definitely gonna read that. But no, no, no. I mean, old people should get fucked, but like it's consensually.
no, I really rethought all my dating choices. I'm like, yeah, maybe I should also stop dating 40-year-olds. Maybe
Well,
maybe
date who you want, but that's really funny. I do remember that. Man, well, I'm glad that you took it in good sport. I also think I
no.
made someone cry in that. No, I cried in the, oh yeah, that's what happened. So, but not on purpose. I mean, it was like I was like triggered on the first meeting. Were you there at the first one?
I was there the first one,
It was
and
like, I mean, I won't get into like to
right.
nobody meant to make it was an emotional time, but I had not expected that. That's never happened, and I was like, oh fuck, like I'm a little prissy bitch, but
No, you're not. No, it was really funny because it made me think about the way that I date when you saw that. Because like I didn't eat, my brain doesn't even go to that. But all of like me and my friends joke like I mean, I'm sure many people my age and also just like uh maybe a lot of female comedians like we're not very good at dating or like picking suitable partners. And I will say, like, for anyone listening, like it wasn't like my character was like 15 years old. This was like a 26-year-old woman dating like a 40-year-old. But then I was like, yeah, that is kind of like icky in a weird way. But
maybe
anyway,
she read younger because like in a good way, but like I think I thought she was like in her early 20s. I mean, I did the same thing. Like, to be fair, I dated a 41-year-old when I was 21, but looking back, he like it didn't feel weird at the time, and that's more what I feel like as a in my 30s now. I see how some men do take advantage of the fact that, these young women don't realize there's anything weird. Because it's not the age that's weird, it's the way they treat them like they're not supposed to know that it's weird. And I
so
think you know what I'm talking about, but it's not, yeah, I have no problem with age difference. It's like this guy I dated definitely like got embarrassed when my friends asked him what year he graduated. And that's a red flag because it's like, I wasn't embarrassed to be with him. I was honest about my age. So it's like, if he felt weird, that means he feels like he's doing something wrong, which
yeah,
probably means
and
he is.
that's gross. Yeah, I've had that where it's like they're almost like getting off on the
Hmm.
fact that, and it's just like I don't know. It was a wake up call, Teresa. Please. That's
Well, I guess I'm glad. You're welcome. Well, before we get too far, I like to ask for a good confession up top just to get to know you and or for our listeners to get to know you. And it's really just like a humble brag or a positive thing or something you're, enjoying lately, like a show, anything positive. Just like, a quick thing that you want to share. Is there anything good you'd like to confess?
what is their confess? Um, I don't. You know what? This is kind of a hard question. I think that the only thing that comes to top of my mind, I'm glad that social gatherings are coming back a little bit and people are being more safe. And I think I had some family members that were on the fence about getting the vax,
Mm.
and now I want to say like 90% of my family is vaccinated, so I'm really happy about that.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah,
That's a really great confession. Yeah, I think yeah, as slow as this whole pandemic process has been, it's nice to like look back and go, okay, we're like getting somewhere slowly, but it's happening.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, this podcast I sort of started because like started going to therapy late, and I really just, to me, like love to, I say confess, but it's kind of like just the idea of talking about yourself and untangling your thoughts. I realized how cool that was, so I wanted to sort of just provide a platform like that. But you wrote the script about a psychiatrist, but in real life, Shannon, what's your experience with therapy? Like, do you have like a confidant you go to, whether it's, you know, a more formal one, or more just like, do you have your, you know, what's your like self-care routine in the mental health space?
So I have been going to a therapist since I was 15. I was actually court ordered to see a therapist.
Divorce or
Oh no.
no.
I
Oh, I
had
feel like you've talked a little in your stand. I don't know how much of it was because I don't think we've ever talked off stage about it, but I'm connecting dots in your from
yeah,
your stand up.
I don't think I ever talked about this, but no, I was court ordered to see a therapist when I was like 15 because okay, this is not something I'm proud of, but like I beat up this girl and it was like I was taken to court and they
Oh
were
wow.
like, you have like a lot of anger problems. Like I was just like not a good kid and like got in trouble a lot in school. So, but therapy was definitely what I needed. I wasn't like a bully or whatever. This girl was also a mean girl. I want to clear my name, okay? But
I
like
mean, this is a safe space, and if you want me to cut this, I can. But truly, it's yeah, no, that the many things have been said on this that are like we're all in a place now where we are aware and have self-reflected, and obviously, our
my
past
lawyer,
comes with many things, you know.
my lawyer's okay with this. No, like I and then so from there, I've been in therapy ever since, and I
Gotcha.
started doing rapid eye movement therapy.
EMDR, I've done
I
that. Oh
I
my God.
love it so much. I felt like I did more work on myself in just 6 months of
Yeah.
rapid eye movement therapy than a lot of talk therapy. Not to say, the talk therapy was really helpful, but it
Hmm.
just helped me take my healing to a whole new level.
That's awesome. Yeah, I found that I similarly, I think the part though with talk therapy is like if like it's sort of like the 101, like if you've gone from never having it, EMDR is really intense, but just the ability to like reflect and talk about yourself and have tools to go to for grounding comes in handy when you're like in the intense EMDR stage. But yeah, I recommend it too. But it is very intense. So I'm glad that you did it and that you found it helpful. I
Yeah.
had a similar, like very like within a couple months, it was like just clearing so much stuff, which I still think my you kind of keep clearing. Like ever since I haven't done it for over 6 months now, but sometimes I'll still like have vivid dreams where I feel like my brain is still going through like these old negative patterns and just like reprogramming, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my brain protected me so well that there was a
Mm,
lot of memories that I couldn't even go to. Like I was one of
yeah.
those people who became very forgetful because of my trauma. And then in the later years of my life, when when you start being like when you're okay to remember certain things,
Yeah.
start re-remembering. So when I started re-remembering things that my brain had protected me from in childhood,
Hmm.
then I was like, okay, I need a different form of therapy to deal with this whole new kind of issue, you know?
Yeah, it can be. I almost feel like sometimes it's like you're in a maze getting closer to the center because I don't know if this is similar to your experience, but like the closer I've gotten to like diving in and like clearing or healing trauma, sometimes the more intense the flashbacks are, but it feels like I'm getting closer to the source where like eventually it'll like it's funny that like in Scientology they say going clear because I'm like that is the feeling, but I don't want to say clear. But
Yeah,
feel
because
feels like I'm clearing shit, you know, but not like in a weird alien cult way. Just in a your brain is foggy, full of memories that it doesn't want to think about, and as you get closer, you can see it better. But it is painful. But
take going clear back from the Scientologists. It's fine. I think yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's like the closer you get, the harder it can
mm,
be. And so sometimes like take breaks. Like, like
yeah.
sometimes in rapid eye movement therapy, we don't even do it. We don't even
Hmm.
touch them. Sometimes it's just talk therapy and like it's nice to have that choice.
Yeah. Well, this is a good time to take a quick break. Get your confession when we come back. All right, we are back. Shannon, the time has come. Is there anything you'd like to tell me?
Um, is it okay if I jewel?
Yes, it's obviously okay if you jewel. And for anyone who has not followed at Get Loved Film, this is a great time to say that Shannon is featured today. Well, By the time this comes out, it won't be today, but it will still be on the feed. In our 3 truths, no lies, and you talk about jewels. So like there you go, on brand.
I know it's bad. It's a nasty habit. That's a confession, right?
That's how I know you are actually much younger than me. Is like
I know it's so embarrassing. I feel like such like I'm not even Gen Z. I'm just like this cute.
it's not a bad thing to be young and jewel. Well, I don't the jewel thing, but every generation has its bad habits. You know, we
Yeah.
were eating shitty candy. Like we would drink liquid sugar, Jones soda or whatever,
Yeah.
just at school. They would
Yeah.
give us ramen and soda. They would sell it at the cafeteria. Like that was my generation. So I don't think that. I mean, whatever. Jewel's probably not great. I'm not endorsing it, but also it's not worse than anything else that every generation's had.
Yeah, I'm trying to kick cigarettes, so I'm like, I don't know how much better this is for me, but whatever. Yeah, my confession, I was like a really lonely, like awkward kid, and I started like flirting with ghosts on Ouija boards.
Okay, all right. I love this. Sorry that you were an awkward kid. I mean, obviously you grew out of it and are awkward for fun now. Like in
Yeah,
a comedic way, like, and also very much, self-aware and well-adjusted. So that's why we can laugh about it. Not, but sorry about the sad little Shannon. But what I love is this ghost. Okay, this is extremely my shit. So I want to know more. Obviously, let's start from. Okay, so was your intent getting the Ouija board to flirt, or did it start from like let's just see what ghosts are about, or like were you on a hunt for like someone to flirt with? Like I want to know how did you get to that point because
I would.
that's not the first thing we mostly associate with Ouija boards.
Yeah, okay. So it did start like me and my friends would play Ouija board for fun because I lived like I didn't have a backyard, but
Mhm.
my backyard was like a cemetery kind of, like one of the oldest
Okay.
in Massachusetts.
Whoa.
Yeah, so me and my girlfriends, we would come over and we would do the Ouija board. And I
Were
mean,
you like very into occult, like spooky stuff, or is this more like sleepover, let's scare each other, or like were you like gung ho, like I love ghosts?
oh, I was gun ho. I love ghosts. I believed that I still believe this. I believe I lived in a haunted house. Like I
Okay,
would
how did things happen? Like, what do you mean?
So I would see things be thrown. I would hear breathing,
What?
and I was the
What?
only person in the room. Like yeah, it was crazy, and I felt like I was in a horror movie
Oh my
where,
god.
and my parents knew that the house was haunted.
Oh
Like
my
they admit
god.
it now, but when I was younger, like 14, 15, they would be like, it's not haunted because they didn't want to scare me and because we didn't have the money to move out. So we were just kind of stuck in this haunted ass
Wow.
house. But now they're like, yeah, we're sorry. Like what they were like, we feel like it was a good thing to lie to you
Oh
because we
my
didn't have the
god.
means to get out of the house.
That's wild because yeah, I feel like as an adult, it's almost there's a fear of admitting it, then it becomes true because at least to other adults you're like, we think it's haunted, but you're like part of us. Like whenever I'm like me and my boyfriend be like, is that haunted? Also part of us is like, but maybe ghosts aren't real and this is kind of fun. So
Yes.
I understand the line to get, but at the same time, it's also wild because it's like as a kid, you're probably looking for like safety in like your tribe,
Yeah.
and the being gaslit, it's even
I know.
worse.
I was like, I'm being gaslit. I'm like being possessed in my own home.
Oh
Like
my god.
but I do think my parents did the right thing by lying to me. I think it would have made me more scared. And I only think they did the right thing by lying to me because we couldn't move out.
Gotcha. They couldn't do
Like
anything
once
about it.
Right. So once we moved out, they were like, "Oh yeah, that place was haunted as hell."
Yeah, I don't know what I would. I don't think I'd want to fully lie to my kids, but I might say something like, "No, I'm thinking about it because I'm very timid too, and I wouldn't want to freak my kids out. But maybe I would be like, hey, here's the thing. Most of the time, ghosts aren't real, and here's a bunch of stories where they're not. But I also don't know how to explain this, so it could be a ghost. And if you want to figure it out, let me know what you figure out.
Yeah, or also just like, you know what? I don't know the answers. There could be ghosts, there could not be, but even if there are ghosts in this house, like my child, I got you.
Yeah,
Like
like you're probably fine, and if there's a ghost, I'm also gonna be there with you. Yeah,
yeah, I'm Mama Bear.
yeah, yeah. We don't need to lie to kids. Let's get over that. No, I get it, but also, I'm like,
Mhm.
there needs to be a way. Okay, so you were into ghosts slash maybe possessed by them.
Oh,
So you were like the adventurous one of your friends being like, let's a Ouija. Like,
yeah. So we all really enjoyed it, and I think it probably goes into just the history of Massachusetts, like we were in a lot of places that had some nasty history. So
oh
there were,
man.
I
Was
mean,
it like near Salem or like
I was like 15 minutes outside of Boston,
okay.
and so the cemetery that I grew up outside of, like I mean, these were people who fought in like
Okay.
war. These were people. There were dead Native Americans that their bodies were moved. So this had some
Dang.
bad, bad, nasty, nasty juju around it.
But you were
Like
like, some of them are hot, so I'm going to flirt with them.
all my friends got guys. All my friends had boyfriends. All my friends were like so hot. I mean, and I just like was this awkward, like I couldn't talk. Like I
Uh-huh.
am very shy naturally. And as a kid, I would like I would, goof around with my friends, but in a group setting, like I couldn't speak. So it
Mm.
was really hard for me to get guys. And I think, I grew up really Catholic and I was very sexually repressed, but like lonely and horny, like
Sure, yeah.
and so
Normal things for teenagers to feel, but also every teenager thinks it's like the weirdest. Yeah, totally.
yeah, so it started like I remember I was like my parents worked a lot, so I was alone in the house all the time and like I had the Ouija board out and I mean I was so nervous that I was like I thought I would like get in trouble for masturbating. Like I thought it was
Mm.
bad to masturbate and I didn't know how. So like I was like I would like break the Ouija board out and I just was like, is anyone here right now? And then
Whoa.
I'd be like, do
Like
you
by
think
yourself, because it cannot move when if you're doing it by yourself.
well, yeah, so it's either like if you believe in ghosts,
Sure.
then
Okay.
believe in
Subconsciously, you're maybe moving it, or maybe it's a ghost, right?
right.
Okay.
So yeah, so I believe in ghosts. So I believe that somebody else was moving it with me. But
Hmm.
if you're reading this, then I was so horny that I moved the thing like
Either
um
way, it like it's like the kind of thing Schrodinger's cat. When I think of quantum and all that, like there's absolutely no way to ever prove one reality doesn't exist unless you do, in which case everyone's already immediately like if there's definitive proof, which people who believe in ghosts have definitive proof,
yeah,
then that's enough. But for people who don't believe in it, there will never be enough. So it's like you just gotta be in whatever reality you're in. It doesn't really change the fact that you were a horny teen wanting to talk to a ghost. Like the facts are still there, right? Like so it's like
yeah,
yes, whether it was a ghost or not,
yeah,
the story is the same, but it is kind of funny that they seem so different, but it's like, yeah, truly, who cares? Like,
yeah. But
so
yeah, so
okay, sorry, I want to hear. So this is just fascinating. I love it. I'm already like, you need to make a movie about this, like me and my ghost.
yeah, my ghost boyfriend. But so I would put my hands on the board and I'd be like, do you think I'm hot? Like I like so cringe.
Oh, no, that's so endearing. Cause
Well, I would
no,
I would
well,
be
what
like,
did it
yeah.
say? I hope
I
it
would
was nice.
Well, he would be like, yes, and I'd be like, do you want to fuck me? Like, what? Like, I was like this, like, very shy girl, just like getting
Oh
nasty.
my God.
Like,
But so how did you like when you were like, is anyone there? You were like already envisioned it's a hot boy.
yeah.
Like it's kind of already in your mind, like that's Casper.
You know what? This is another, like, I'm being so honest, but I was 14 and I was like, it's probably some, like, John Proctor ass man talking to me right now, but I don't even care because, like, I'm just, like, so into
Even in your fantasy imagination, you're being catfished. Oh my God, by a ghost.
Well, I was like, I believe that you can't really, when you're talking to a Ouija board, you don't know who the hell you're talking to. Like, this could be anyone just like pretending to be, like, this could
Uh
be any
huh.
pretending to be any other person, or it could be, I mean, if you believe in them, it could be a demon just trying to
That's
like
true.
fuck with like a young innocent girl. And I don't know, I guess I just didn't care. I was like, you
That's
know,
probably the strongest protection against demons, though, because
yeah,
like just because like if you're willingly flirting with a demon, the demon might think they're gonna trick you later. But if everything you're doing you want to do, then you're not gonna suddenly cross a line because you'll just be like, oh no, that's what I wanted, thanks. But like if the demon was like, oh, they could use your shame against you maybe, but like If you were just like, nah, this is cool, then you're just flirting with a demon. Like,
Yeah.
whatever, I guess. But that is wild. So you were scared, like, of getting caught, or you were in the moment you were like, this is fun, and then you felt like was it more like shame later?
I mean, so I think that in the moment it felt like me owning my sexuality and having a free space for me to express myself. But now looking back, because I believe in ghosts, I'm like, this is an inappropriate age gap. These people are like hundreds of
They're
years
dead
old.
for hundreds of years.
Yeah, like how dare you? Which is
Oh
why
my God. Well, then you get into philosophy. Like, do you believe your soul is older than your body?
whoa.
Okay, I do actually. I just had a thought. Okay, because I have two thoughts. Well, one thought is, were you? When did you come out? Because or do you identify? I know our writing group was like kind of a queer writing group, but
Yeah.
but were you like aware of that your sexuality then? Because my first thought is like that to me also sounds like on top of being repressed, there's an element of like queerness to it, some sort of addressing a part of yourself that you almost put outside of you because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, because I had an imaginary friend when I was a kid too, and maybe not like a ghost like that, but I definitely feel like it's pretty or more common with young girls who like came out later in life, that especially if you're like bi too, because you might have questioned it later, because you might have questions on guys too, like to have this like mysterious element of like discovery, and it can be protected in the occult or ghost or like hearing voices or whatever.
You're like making me realize things as we talk because
Mm-hmm.
I, you know, I mean, of course, I was always been attracted to women, but I couldn't really admit that to myself. And I
Mm-hmm.
had kind of like an obsession with this one dead person who was a woman.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Her name was like Abigail Williams, and so she in the cemetery by my house,
Uh-huh.
her gravestone was alone, which was really strange because all of the women were always next to their husbands.
Gotcha.
And so and it said like wife of John Williams.
Ah.
So I was like, I always wondered like where was her husband's gravestone? Like, did they have a bad was she even really in love with him? And so I used to
Whoa.
go there all the time and feel like I felt like I had a relationship with her, and I would like go and do my homework next to her grave, and it was like I don't know.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I think that. And then I remember like I did find like John Williams' grave at the cemetery as well. And I'm like they're in the same cemetery, but they're both choosing to be separate. I mean, I'll
Hmm.
never
She
know
was
the.
buried next to her roommate, who was a
Yeah. Yeah.
wow, that's fascinating. I mean, first of all, like, very fascinating that you did your homework in a cemetery. Like, I think that's just like so many layers of interesting, and I love it. Like, it just I've never heard of that, and it's cool. But the other thing is like I fully do think like I'm also on the fence with ghosts mostly because I get
Yeah.
scared, but like I do think I lean towards believing them, and I fully think you probably did talk to Abigail. Like, you
Yeah.
probably picked up on the energy
Yeah.
because
I mean,
now as an adult it makes sense, but then you're probably just like, huh, whatever, and now it's like you knew. Like Abigail was like,
I
I don't
I
know.
do I don't know. That's the vibe that I get. That's the reality that I choose to believe because whether it matters or not. Like so I went to a medium and she told me that I mean I didn't tell her like anything obviously about
Uh-huh.
where I'm from or like the fact that I used to do this, but she was like, I've never seen this before, but there is someone from like who was like 100 like who died like hundreds of years ago, like around like who hangs out like their spirit hangs around you.
You're
And
like,
she,
yeah, that's Abigail, or it's like, yeah, those are my exes. I used to flirt with those.
yeah, she was, but she was like,
There's
it,
so many. Why are they all around you, begging you to text them back?
I, and she was like, it's like this old, like woman who she's like looks very pilgrim like, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want the medium to then like go off on a whatever, but like. I believed that that was Abigail. And she was like, it's a very rebellious woman, and she feels like kinship towards you.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, like that. And I'm like, in my mind, I don't care if it's true or not, she's gay.
Yeah, no, I mean, you probably, I mean, energy, right? You picked up on
Yeah.
some energy. That's okay. That's so fascinating. Like when you said, like you had just told me you were going to talk about Ouija and flirting, which
Yeah.
already I was like game for. But now I'm like, where this is
There's a love
amazing.
story.
It's a love
I
story, and
know.
maybe it was Abigail pretending to be your catfish man. I don't know.
Oh my
Could that
God,
be
maybe
possible?
that's my girl. Maybe that, oh my God, I love that version of reality so much more than like some old demon talking to me that like I actually just stumbled upon my first girlfriend.
And she probably was trying to help too because she was like, well, Shannon's not ready to like be flirting with a girl yet, but so like I'll be a guy, and then like, and so she maybe that's why she felt slightly off, like if
Yeah.
it, and then she's like, oh, but this will make her happy because then she'll like feel like she's just like all her other friends with boyfriends, but in a
Yeah.
different way, like that's awesome. I mean. And if for anyone listening, if you're in the reality where ghosts absolutely aren't real, then I also present to you how amazing Shannon's mind is to be able to literally like create
Yeah, maybe
this
I just,
world that still gets her closer to figuring out who she is and her identity, which I think is fucking amazing. So either way, pretty cool.
yeah. I'm like, it's either the, you know what, I do, I'm like, I truly do believe in it, but then I think I'm okay with believing it because I'm like, even if I'm
Hmm.
wrong, it just means I have an overactive imagination.
And a good one that's protecting
Yeah.
you because it wasn't leading you like because we talk about demons or whatever, but sometimes people fear demons, but I think what they do is they fear their like shadow self.
Mhm.
And if you're talking to people call it talking to your demons, but why wouldn't that just be talking to your flirty ghost? I don't know, like you could be talking to like it doesn't really matter if you're not afraid of it. It can only lead you closer to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So when did this? Okay, so how serious did it get though? So I'm kind of going back to the Ouija because as a teenage girl, like it's like, yeah, are you hot? Blah blah blah. But like school dances come up, things like that. Like, were you telling your friends about the ghost, or was this very much like this is my secret to bear, and nobody must know?
It was my dirty little secret. I was like, because I was so, I mean, I told I told them a version of like, yeah, I'm like, I'm so cool. I play Ouija by myself and I'm not scared of it, but I wasn't telling them that I'm like, I'm getting off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, um,
Were you interested in anyone at school, or was this like another? Because when I talk about like also not like maybe not being okay or not being out to yourself yet, sometimes it's like for some reason not really like you've created a barrier almost to not be available for the guys.
oh, you know what I think it also was? I um I think I got off on like doing it with other people, like Ouija with other people. It just feels so intimate.
Okay,
So,
okay. And the girls were it was mostly sleepovers, like that sort of thing. Like,
yeah, that, yeah. A lot of things are clicking right now, but
wow, that's
yeah,
fascinating.
it was like a wet. I mean, I did write I actually made a short about it that I guess
Oh,
I'm plugging myself right now, but I made a short about it that
plug
you can.
it. Yeah, what's it called? Is it
It's called Yes and No. So at the top of the
okay?
Ouija, is yes and no, and it's about these two girls who are like flirting with each other through the Ouija board, and
Ooh,
through the questions that they're asking, the subtext is actually about their feelings for one another.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So that was inspired by like I had a huge crush on this girl that I used to play the Ouija board with. Um,
It makes sense.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I feel like we unlocked a different level of Shannon's childhood self. This is amazing. So, was there anything we miss anything Ouija wise like that you want to add to the story, like in the context of this, or was it kind of just like this was a thing that happened and then it faded out, or did it accumulate into like a Casper moment of like I hope you're real, like where possess me or whatever.
Yeah, I so the Catholic Church did think I was possessed. Like
Okay.
it got really intense because I started to become more shameless about it. I started to like I would do it like I would break out the Ouija board like outside, or in
Whoa.
class.
In
And
class?
in class, I would
You're
draw them.
like,
You can just draw on a piece of paper, yes,
wow.
no, the letters of the alphabet, goodbye, and I would take like a bottle cap and I'd like turn to a cute girl next to me like, you want to play Ouija?
And
That
you
was my
truly felt like truly were not feeling like you were moving it. What?
No, I really didn't. And sometimes it wouldn't move. And I think that was like in my brain, I'm like, sometimes it's not, no one's there. So like in my head, I was like, oh, it's moving, that means someone's there. And I don't know how much I know you've had other people talk about Catholicism or whatever, but I had to do when before you're confirmed, you go to like every day after school or at least like once a week, you have to go to class, like Catholic
Oh, like
class.
catechism or something like
Yeah, so they're
okay.
like
Uh-huh.
yeah, you learn about, the Bible and all that. Whatever. I clearly didn't do well, but they were so concerned about me because I like wasn't doing the work and I was just kind of like a loud, annoying kid. Like I would either be so quiet or I would just like destroy a classroom. Like and so they had me do one-on-one sessions with a nun. They were like, "We're not confirming this girl. There's a
Oh
dark
man.
spirit over her." And
And then none was like, "Don't worry, I'm also gay." Yeah.
yeah, and they're like, "She's gay. We hate her." No.
Hmm.
But yeah, and so then they called my parents. They were like, we're really concerned. There's a demon. We think that there's not a succubus, but
Oh
there's a
my God.
male. Yeah, so the male there's a word for the male version.
Incubus,
An
right?
incubus. Yeah, they thought that there was an incubus trying to have sex with me. They're like, she's so pure and virginal, and I'm like,
That's
I'm
a
a
wild thing for
virgin.
like a church to say. I guess it's
Yeah.
not that wild considering I know what the Catholic Church has done, but it's just like for them to just like with a straight face instead of just being like maybe we have too many rules about sexuality. They're like there is a ghost trying to fuck your daughter. Like
And I was like, yeah, there
you're
is.
like hell yeah, I knew
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
but
Still got it. Oh
I,
my
it
god.
made me feel more sexy. I was
That's
like,
so funny.
I
Oh my god.
and yeah. So my dad was pissed, obviously, because I mean, but my mom was kind of my mom. So my parents are separated. So the house that they believed that the demon was coming from was my mother's house, and
Okay. Hmm.
my dad was like really mad about it when they called, and my mom like knew that the house was haunted, so she was actually scared. And so they sent a priest to my house, and
Oh
like it was a whole thing. Like they were like putting holy water everywhere. Like they
my
put their
god.
hands on me to like, pray over me, like Saint
What?
Michael, please protect her. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'll be playing Ouija tomorrow. Like it's
Oh my
you know.
god.
Yeah.
That is wild. But I'm glad that your body and brain protected you from because that could also sound very traumatic. But I'm glad that you were like so far beyond that that you're like, this is just foreplay, whatever.
No, I've always had like a sick sense of humor. I always just was like, this is funny to me that everyone's taking this so seriously. Even though I believed in it, I just like, I don't know.
Hmm.
I think that I felt stronger than whatever presence was coming
Hmm.
over. Like I never felt like I was like, if there is a demon after me, let's go, bitch. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't
You
care.
saw the truth, I think, because whether you have the whole thing or not, you definitely know that they're leaving parts out. So it's really hard to trust any authority that is lying to you. Even if they genuinely, like, they might be using coded language. I don't know if they really believe it's ghosts or they do, but they also have actively repressed, like, gay people. And they know that part. They don't need to do. So, like, if they're lying, then it's easier as a child for you to see the truth, which is like, you're more likely to walk into something unknown that's more likely to give you truth than stay in a world that's like hiding truth from you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, my experience, like I will say, because I actually do believe in ghosts and I believe in the Ouija, like it is not, something to be messed with if you don't, have the proper like protection. Like you shouldn't use it if you're in like a dark, bad space.
Wear a condom when you fuck the
Yeah.
ghosts.
Yeah,
Use
use your
protection.
protection. Use protection if you're gonna use a Ouija board. But I will say that it like regardless uh, of whatever is real or not real, I do think it was a tool for me to explore how I felt about my
Hmm.
sexuality, about my own sense of power, about, questioning authority figures, like is what they're saying true? And,
Yeah.
am I even in the wrong here for doing this? Like it's like to me, I was like, if there are dead people and you do believe in God, like he's allowed them to be here and to speak to me. So why can't I exercise my free will?
Yeah. Wow. You're very, very intellectual and like had thought, like it seemed like more empathetic than not to like shit on the church because
No, you
not
can't.
everyone, I have a lot of, my sister's Catholic too, but Yeah, whenever there's contradictions, you're like, okay, but then they can't even entertain that conversation. Then you're like, well, what more can I do here? Like, I don't have any reason to discuss with someone who refuses to see facts, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the story. Thank you for sharing this. I have a quick game. Do you have time to end on this game?
Oh, yes, please. I would love that.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I didn't know this full story, but I knew that we were going to mention ghosts and flirting. So this is inspired by that. It's called Are These Quotes Spoken by Ghosts or Living Talk Show Hosts? Pretty much the description's in the name. These are quotes from famous people, and they're either talk show hosts that are living or dead people. The dead people are not talk show hosts, and they really can be anybody. So it is just a silly game. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, this is the first quote. When the debate is over, slander becomes the tool of the loser. Is this a ghost or a talk show host?
That sounds like a ghost. Like
You are
like
correct. It is Socrates. Speaking of asking questions, Socrates, one of the original ghosts that made you question, right? Okay, your sexuality. Anyways, okay, my riffing's not on point today. Next one. Don't keep reaching for the stars because you'll just look like an idiot stretching that way for no reason. Ghost or talk show host?
talk show host.
Correct. This is a talk show host. This is Mr. Jimmy Fallon. Little take on the reaching for the stars. All right, here's the next one. If you can make a woman laugh, you can make her do anything. Is this a ghost or a talk show host?
That's my girl Marilyn.
You knew that? Okay, no, that's a ghost. Great.
She has hell to know that.
I didn't use the most common. You know that, well, if you don't handle me at my word, I was like, that's too obvious. All right, here's another. A gender line helps to keep women not on a pedestal, but in a cage. Ghost or talk show host?
This is a hard one. It sounds like I'm gonna
I feel like you would know this instinctively. Yeah, go with your gut.
ghost.
Yes. Do you know who it is? Any guess?
No.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, recent
Oh,
ghost.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Tricky. Okay, here's okay, I have a few more. Fame does different things to different people. For some people, it makes them a better person. Ghost or talk show host?
Talk show.
Yes. Any guesses?
I don't know.
Andy Cohen's got the 411. It's Andy Cohen.
Okay. Thank you for giving that to
Andy
me.
Cohen. Okay. I think nudity is funny, especially when it's inappropriate. Ghost or talk show host?
I hope it's a ghost. I'm going ghost because I hope it is.
It's actually a host. It's Chelsea Handler, which I think is the one talk show host who could probably say that, because I feel like a dude saying that would not be okay. Okay, final one. Rap and dance is pretty much what I want to be known for. Host or talk show? Ghost or Ghost or host?
Host.
Yep.
Oh,
It's a host. It's James Corden.
James Corden.
I think that you did very well. I think you only got one wrong, so
Awesome. You know what? That's just my,
you're in tune with the ghosts.
I know what they would say.
Your prize is you get to tell the listeners where to follow you and find you where, on the socials, not like in life, unless you want them to. But yeah, plug your things.
If you're a ghost, my number, no. If you're dead, soon to be dead, you can find me on Instagram at @ChinHardy77, and on Twitter I'm @DiscountAngelMommy7.
That's a great handle. You can follow this podcast at Tell Me Anything Pod and follow me at Teresa Lee on Instagram. Thank you for listening to You Can Tell Me Anything. You Can Tell Me Anything is a comedic podcast created and produced by Teresa Lee on the Hoo Ha Ha Podcast Network. The Hoo Ha Ha team is Ashley McAtee, Audrey Povar, Maggie Reed-Austin, Cardi Assad, and Stephanie Binot. The theme song for this podcast was created by Cody Johnston. The outro music was written by Shipwrecked Sailor. And the Hoo Ha Ha app can be found in the Apple Store to stream your favorite comedy series and laugh out loud podcasts by the funniest women in comedy. To contact this podcast specifically, you can email tellmeanythingpod@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram @tellmeanythingpod. Thank you.